Right, I want to talk for a moment about brands, not just of clothing, but also of gear, and some of my quote-unquote favorites, and what I would suggest to you if you're getting into this. So, I own stuff that everybody has heard of, and maybe only some have heard of, and probably that almost none of you have heard of. And I've purchased stuff from shops that you know, like Amazon and REI, and directly from cottage brands like Trail Designs, and even from gas stations. So I'm just going to give a few comments in the way of brand philosophy and then practicalities. So I know the tool world better than I know the outdoor clothing world, so I'm going to use an example from them. So you've probably heard of the brands Makita, DeWalt, Milwaukee, Metabo, Bosch. I know there's one more in there that I'm forgetting. But what you may not know or have considered is that Makita was the first company to ever create a battery-powered drill. Milwaukee was the first company to make a reciprocating saw. Skill Saw was the first one to make the circular saw. DeWalt, Mr. DeWalt, invented the radial arm saw. And Metabo invented the angle grinder. So these brands got put on the map through one really important innovation or invention. And then to compete with their competitors, they developed the other tools that make up a full tool manufacturer. But it still is the case that they've specialized and gotten really good at a particular thing. So the same is true with the outdoor brands, although I don't know their histories as much. As an example, like Stanley invented, so far as I know, or at least made popular, the vacuum flask. REI started as an ice axe manufacturer. Evernew does things with titanium, and the clothing manufacturers are a little less, let's say, pronounced. But what you also see is that even though they're well known for a certain thing, they expand. And what the market or the products that they expand into are not necessarily superior, even though they may be the best. So like you can go to REI and you can buy a plain old cotton t-shirt from the North Face for $30, but there's nothing special about their cotton t-shirts. So even though brands indicate trust and a sense of expectation of what you're going to get, there's also some junk mixed in there where they want to have high profits for their cotton t-shirts as well. So anyway, that's a little bit of the philosophy. Now to the practicality. When it comes to clothes, I do like North Face. I have purchased several things from them on sale. And what I like about North Face is that they're like a lot of other clothing companies where last year models are heavily discounted because they want to come up with this year's model. So I bought this on eBay. I bought these from Eddie Bauer on eBay. I bought that in an outlet. Those were given to me by somebody, and I bought that on sale. So I don't like buying full price clothes, that's for sure. I have a swimsuit on right now from Patagonia. I have another collared shirt from Patagonia that I bought on sale. I've had for like 12 years. And I would say they're all making high quality clothes. This is by REI. What I would suggest to you is not to fixate on a brand, but to consider the materials. So as an example, this is a YKK zipper. These are YKK zippers. These are YKK zippers. This one is not. Now I do have something from Columbia with a YKK zipper on it, but the zipper material and construction is more important than the brand to me. The second thing to consider is the materials. So polyester, nylon, polyester blends, things like that, spandex. That's what matters a lot more than the brand. If you buy a cotton t-shirt from North Face, it won't work as well as a nylon shirt from Walmart for outdoorsy stuff. The second thing to consider is design. So you can have a really good design, like the number of pockets and the location of the pockets. As an example, these convertible pants I really like because they have normal rear pockets without any Velcro or anything like that, which always annoys me. Then they have a low security pocket with just Velcro, and then a high security pocket with zippers. So I can put things I absolutely can't lose in here and things that I'm not too worried about losing over here. So that's like a design question. I bought a whole bunch of stuff from Columbia at an outlet store, and I had to resew almost all of it. It all was fraying. So that has nothing to do with design, it has to do with manufacturing quality. And you shouldn't just assume that a really good product you had from North Face means that all their products will be good, because they come out of different factories, and different factories have different quality standards and different experience levels. If they're a new factory, they might have low quality. The other thing to look for that I like doing is to look at yesterday's brands. So like Eddie Bauer became really well known, I think 70 or 80 years ago, for using duck down in their jackets. LL Bean became very well known for those somewhat ugly rubber leather boots. Now, our parents' generation probably knew Eddie Bauer and LL Bean as like the standards, but our generation, you know, we look to North Face and Cotopaxi and things like that. So I bought several things from Eddie Bauer that are high quality but low cost because their brand power is diminishing. Yeah, I really like the REI brand. I've bought a lot of clothes from REI. Since they're a house brand, they're normally cheaper, and if you get them on sale, they're quite reasonably priced. So I'm a fan of REI clothing. I've owned probably 10 items from Fjallraven. I owned a $500 winter jacket from them I bought in Germany. I was given these pants. I've owned some hats, some gloves, some pants, some shirts, some jackets. Honestly, I cannot recommend them. They make probably the best looking stuff. It's kind of the coolest looking stuff. They mix materials a lot. But I've had problems with almost everything I've owned from them. I've had buttons fall off, zippers fail, things tear, and as much as I like them, and as much as I want to like them, I've been to Sweden, and I like Swedish stuff. I just, probably in the 12 items I've owned, I've had some problem with all of them. And that would be one thing if it was Columbia, but it's Fjallraven, and they are way more expensive than everybody else, and they almost never go on sale. So yeah. Okay, then just a couple of obscure things. So I really like stuff from Stanley, not for backpacking, but for car camping. You can get it anywhere, and you can get scratch and dent stuff like this one was on Amazon for pretty cheap. Most of the outdoor stuff made in Japan is always pretty good. In particular, these silky saws are really good. This is also from Japan. Evernew makes a lot of good titanium stuff, so I've been a big fan. I've had several things from them. Trail Designs is a cottage brand, kind of like Mountain Laurel Designs. I don't have anything with me now from Mountain Laurel Designs, but Mountain Laurel Designs, Trail Designs, Gossamer Gear, Z-Packs, those are all cottage brands for backpacking that are all really good. And then don't turn your nose up at the non-brand brands. So I don't think that Smartwater puts too much money into branding, but these are basically the lightest weight, most durable water bottles that people use on the trail. And I once carried 2 Nalgene's and used to turn my nose up at people who had those because I thought they weren't serious backpackers, and so they hadn't put money into having matching Nalgene's on the trail. And now I'm one of those guys, and I kind of laugh at people who have matching Nalgene's on the trail, not because there's anything wrong with the Nalgene, but because they're like 6 times heavier than this, and serious thru hikers don't use Nalgene's anymore. So anyway, that's a little bit about brands. My main message is to not have a favorite brand. Don't constrict yourself or constrain yourself to always buying stuff from Fjallraven, because inevitably they're going to have an inferior product in a particular space. And if you're this loyal dog, so to speak, then you're going to buy something that's inferior. And I'm not interested in slavery of any kind, including being a slave to a brand or a store or anything like that. So I would just encourage you to look at the labels, look at the materials, look at the design, look at the craftsmanship and the workmanship on the threads and stitching. Look at the zipper manufacturer is a pretty big one. And then go on eBay and, put in the item that you're looking for, whether it's a tent or a sleeping bag, and just see what's out there and rank by lowest to highest priced and see which brand is suffering. Right now, again, Eddie Bauer, they're not doing so great. Columbia never has done that great. North Face is sort of fading in light of Cotopaxi, from what I can perceive. Fjallraven, even though I bought this stuff from them 13 years ago in Germany, they're just starting now to come to the States. So I've always said, you know, being first place isn't as good as people think. Being fourth place in a lot of areas is a lot better. I try and buy, like, not from the best manufacturers, but from like the third or fourth best manufacturers. They're pretty much coming out of the same factories, using the same materials, same zippers. It's just they're not as trendy for some reason at the moment, and so their prices are 20 to 30% less, and that's how I like to spend my money. All right, maybe that helps you a little bit with brands, which ones to consider, how to shop, a little bit about brand philosophy, and a few examples that I really enjoy using. So hope that helps you. Take care.